La parola ora.
And I give the floor to Viktor Orban, the Hungarian Prime Minister.
Mélyen tisztelt elnök úr, tisztelt...
President Tajani, Vice President Timmermans, honorable members. Hungary is once again on the agenda here in the European Parliament. I've come here to Brussels to see you, to take part in this debate. I've been a member of Parliament for almost 30 years now, and I've always been fond of debate, the clashing of opposing views. Democracy is based on reasoned argumentation, and it is also the moral bedrock of the European Union. I'm convinced that we can take better decisions if they come from debate, stem from debate, and not from unilateral statements. My presence here is, I'm here to help you make an informed decision when Hungary is on the agenda. I remember your previous resolutions on Hungary have not stood the test of time and the test of truth. Just think about the Tavares report and its spectacular and embarrassing failure. You should know that we Hungarians never give up the fight. I will rely on the power of reason in today's debate. We have this debate is about is between us and between you and us and a financial speculator, an American speculator. We are not as big and powerful as you are, and not as big and powerful as George Soros, the American financial speculator attacking Hungary, who has destroyed the lives of millions of Europeans with his financial speculations, who has been fined for speculation in Hungary, and who is an open enemy of the euro. He is still highly regarded and warmly received here at the highest levels. But this is no reason to condemn us on untruths. Fairness is not a question of the size of the country. Honorable members, I've come here to defend my country. But it's also important to talk about successes. In 2008, we started from the same position as Greece. The government in office was the first one to turn to the IMF and to you, the European Union, for help, for financial help. We have since repaid this loan fully and before its maturity. We have created hundreds of thousands of jobs. Hungary is on the right path to achieving the lowest unemployment in Europe. Today it stands at 4%. We have created work-based society. We have taken people off benefits and back to work. We are aiming at full employment. Budgetary deficit has been well below your threshold for years. The latest figure was 1.8%. Public debt is decreasing, and this year economic growth stands at a stable 4%. We still have a lot of problems to solve, but we have a lot to be proud of. I am convinced that Hungary's successes are also Europe's successes, and the EU needs successes. It would be silly to let our ideological differences divert attention from these successes. Honorable members, there are a number of issues that you seem to be interested in. There are rumors that the Hungarian government has adopted a law and has closed the university, the private university of George Soros, operating in Budapest. The rector of this very university has written to the students and the teachers the following. Let me quote him. We would like to reiterate that the Central European University's existence is not in danger. We will continue to work under any circumstances. So this allegation is unfounded. The situation is really absurd. It's almost like someone being accused of murder, then he's convicted, while the alleged victim is alive and kicking. Moreover, even pointing fingers at the convicted, crying murderer. The truth is that this piece of legislation adopted by the Hungarian parliament, which is a minor amendment, applies to 28 foreign universities in Hungary, and all it does is introduce uniform rules applying to them, closes loopholes, introduces transparency, and ends privileges that these foreign universities enjoyed over European ones. You are European legislators. I'm the Prime Minister of Hungary, Prime Minister of a member state. It is my job and duty to ensure that European and Hungarian universities enjoy a level playing field and are not at a disadvantage compared to non-EU universities, no matter how big and powerful their owner might be. Honourable members, the other issue on the agenda is the national consultation that we recently introduced. I can tell you that in the last decade it's become something of a habit to regularly ask our citizens to consult them about important issues. We have already held 4 of these. I can wholeheartedly recommend the same method to you. This national consultation is about what position the Hungarian government should have on certain issues here in Brussels. We are asking for the support and opinion of people. Honourable members, let me make something clear to you. Hungary and the Hungarian government is committed to the European Union, and this is unquestionable. The last 30 years of Hungarian politics has been based on this. That's why I signed and fully agree with the Rome Declaration, recently adopted, and also the program of the EPP, which we adopted in Malta. However, honourable members, Mr. Vice President, in many aspects we are unhappy with how the European Union works. When we criticize the European Union, it is because we want to correct these mistakes and we want to reform the European Union. It is our conviction that this is the only way to regain people's confidence towards European institutions. We have to do our best to address the root causes of inefficiencies. A good therapy requires a clear diagnosis. We have to be clear about what's wrong. I personally, and we Hungarians generally, we like honest talk. We like to speak clearly so that everybody understands, even if we know that this is not going to be to the liking of everybody. And we are really irritated by the verbal straitjacket which stops us from calling a spade, and this kind of talk has become very common in European public life recently. But we cannot. I don't think we can require all 28 member states to have the same temperament and the same style of debate. That is exactly why I think that European political culture is so exciting. If you manage to overcome your prejudices towards us, you will find a fresh, innovative, and creative political thinking behind them. This is also true for the national consultation. This is exactly what lies behind the successes of Hungary. This national consultation questionnaire addresses 3 issues where we disagree with the European Commission. We have a clear position. We don't want, and we don't think it's actually within the founding treaties to make it compulsory to resettle migrants to Hungary. We reserve ourselves the right to decide who we share hunger with, who we live together with. Another important piece of information is that George Soros and his NGOs want to let in 1 million migrants to the European Union every year. This is his publicly declared program, and he offers financial loans to back this up. You could read this as well. We reject this proposal. We do not want to lose our national competence to set public utility prices, because we're afraid that this would increase the financial burden of the citizens and would lead to a steep increase of prices, which has caused already enough suffering to Hungarian families. Also, we don't want to hand over the national competence of setting taxes to the European Union, because that would make us less competitive. And we don't understand why the Commission in its annual report criticizes the Hungarian public works system, which is a very important basis of a work-based society and not a benefit-based society. These are the hot issues debated here. Our position is that we don't want change in these. We don't want a reshuffle of national and EU competencies in these fields. We want to defend the status quo, the rules that we adopted together. That's where the Stop Brussels slogan comes from. Is this a crime now? We adopted the rules in force together. These are the rules we have in force, and these are the rules that we want to defend. These are common European achievements. This is the acquis. So the Hungarian position cannot be an anti-European position. It is also true, I'm not going to hide this, that our vision of Europe builds on a Europe of strong member states. In such a Europe, the member states shoulder and not fend off responsibility for state debt, public debt, for the budget, or the protection of borders. Honorable members, we want to use reason and debate, and we want to use them to shape decision-making here in Brussels. If you don't like our opinion, our position, come forward with reasoned arguments. Let's debate these issues, but don't judge us and condemn us because we have our own opinion. Honorable members, the third issue, regulations and rules on NGOs. The Hungarian bill draft act follows a US model. In a number of European countries, and also within the framework of the PIPER report here in the European Parliament, you are dealing with this complex issue. How can we make sure that rich lobbies that want to have an influence on democratic decision making, how we can introduce transparency in this? The Hungarian bill is based on the principles of transparency. All we want is to know what financial and other interests these NGOs represent. They will still have the constitutional right to make their voices heard, to represent interests. Honorable members, it is also important to make clear that without exception, we have been consistent. We have always said that we want to respect the rules of the club, and we have always done so. I know, I'm fully aware that union membership entails not only rights but also obligations. Whenever we had conflicts in recent years, we tried to debate, we tried open dialogue to come to a solution. We have managed to solve complicated issues such as media law, the new Hungarian constitution, judicial reforms, or the extension of our nuclear power plant. These are cases where we successfully closed the debate. We have come to an agreement. I can reassure you, Mr. Vice President, that we will do so on these issues as well. Honorable members, Hungary is a proud country. We have always been committed to European Christian values. We have always thought that we were an important nation in Europe who want to influence decisions that have an impact on them. Our government in Hungary is working hard to reinforce Hungary's commitment toward the European Union, and we have been successful in this. Public support for the European Union is above 70%, the highest in all member states, and we are proud of this. Believe me when I say this, people will support the European Union, but only if it is based on fair and open debate and is ready to admit that every now and then it needs to be reformed. Mr. President, we have always been respectful towards you. When you are talking about Hungary, I kindly ask you to be critical towards your prejudices, stick to the truth, and measure us by the same yardstick. This is the only way we can be true Europeans worthy of the name. Thank you for listening to me.